it's Tina, also known as Little T, and today we're going to bake some cookies, one of my favorite things to eat in the whole wide world. We're going to bake some New York City style chocolate chip cookies. I got the idea for the recipe during the pandemic when I was watching a lot of different channels for recipes when we weren't quite so busy, and I found a channel called Jemma's Cupcakes. She's based in England, and they were putting up a lot of their recipes online while their customers weren't able to come into the store. I'll put a link to the recipe up in the top of this video. The recipe that I'm using is theirs, but I've made some modifications to it. When I made them at the Bakehouse, 611 Bakehouse that is, I needed to make some modifications for them to turn out for me. So I'm using that recipe today. I'll show you what we're using for ingredients, and I'm also going to be using a hand mixer. Here we go. That Brian and I got as a wedding gift almost 40 years ago. When I was at the Bakehouse, I had access to a stand mixer, and I don't have one of those now here in Kentucky. So we'll make do with this mixer, and if we have to, we'll just go back to a regular spatula and some elbow grease to make them turn out. And if they don't turn out, I've already had one success this morning, baking-wise. I made some sourdough bread, so let's take a look at that. It's still pretty hot, so I haven't cut into it yet, but I was glad to see that it did rise. So let's get started on this recipe, and by the end of the video, we'll have some chocolate chip cookies. So let's get to baking. Here are our ingredients for this recipe, and I haven't decided whether I'm going to use vegan butter or regular butter in them, so I've got both out. I've got some unsalted butter sticks here, and I've got some Earth Balance vegan buttery sticks as well. So I'll make that decision, and they'll turn out fine using either one. So we'll start with that, and then we have sugars. We're going to use brown sugar, and then we have just cane sugar I've got in a jar here, and then we'll add our chocolate chips. I've got some dark chocolate chunks, and then I have some dark chocolate baking chips. Those are no sugar added. I was just trying those to see how they taste, and they are pretty good. You can use chunks, you can use milk chocolate, you can use chips. It's up to you which kind of chocolate chips you would like to use. So we'll get those in there, and then we'll add our dry ingredients. We have all-purpose flour, baking powder, baking soda, and some salt. We'll add that in there, and then last of all, we'll add eggs and vanilla extract. And that'll get all mixed up in our bowl right here with our handy dandy mixer. And then we'll make our dough, form it into some balls, and put them in the freezer so they can be frozen solid before we bake them. All right, there we go, and we'll get started on the recipe. We're gonna start with our butter. You want your butter to be very cold. So I just now took this out. I'll get it unwrapped and diced into chunks. I guess it was turned on before it was time to turn on. Okay, just for about 30 seconds. As you can see, most of the butter is stuck on the little mixer things. We'll see if this will get it off. As I told you, I had not used these in a long time since I've been using the stand mixer at 611. Now, to try to get the butter out of here. This is not going to work. Let's try a knife. I just rewatched Jemma's Cupcake video, and it said you can do it by hand, but this butter is so cold, I just don't think doing it by hand would have been very effective. This is just causing extra work. But that's okay. It'll be worth it in the end. Okay, beater number 2. Here's what it looks like so far. It's still a little bit chunky compared to what I saw in her video, but we're gonna go with it for now. And we're gonna add our sugars. It's gonna be 2/3 cup of granulated sugar, 1/3, 2/3. Two-thirds cup of brown sugar. I have light brown sugar. And I'm gonna pack it not extraordinarily firmly, but firmly. 1/3. 2/3. That's all the sugar we need. I'm gonna put the beaters back on this mixer and see what happens. Here we go. Still got stuck in the beaters like last time, so I'm going to use my knife and dig that out again. There you have it. I'm just going to go around the bowl a little bit with my spatula. But it's still not creamed, it's still kind of chunky. Next, we're going to add our chocolate chips. When I just watched the video, they used walnuts and chocolate chips. They used milk chocolate. We're fans of dark chocolate here, so we're going to do 1 cup of these. A little bit more because the bag had a little bit more of these mini chocolate chips. And I've got some chocolate chunks, and these are dark chocolate as well. That would be 2 cups of chips, and then we're doing, make them very chocolate chippy. 3 altogether. Instead of the mixer, I think I'm going to do it by hand. Just got a few overboard here. So there's that. Next, we're going to add the dry ingredients. So I've printed out the recipe here. We're going to do 3 3/4 cups plain flour. 1, 2, 3. This bag is just about empty. 3/4. In the recipe online, they use self-raising flour and plain flour. And there's 2 different recipes that she shares. One of them uses just plain flour, and on that one she uses 3 teaspoons of baking powder. So we're going to do that since I didn't use any self-raising flour. So 3 teaspoons. We're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to mix that together. We're going to try the mixer and see what happens. It may go all over the place. Maybe not. Here we go, really low. I'm going to use my spatula to put some more of that flour down deep in there so it doesn't go flying out the edges. Again, I'm gonna bring it in from the sides. And it's not gonna get all creamed up because we don't have the eggs in there yet. It's gonna be kind of powdery like that. But I still have some flour on the edges that hasn't mixed in. Get to the bottom and get up some of that ooey gooey dough with the butter and the sugar. I think I'm gonna set this to the side for now. Next, after I get these escaping chocolate chips, we're gonna get our eggs ready. So I'm gonna set this to the side. I'm gonna do 2 whole eggs. I've got large eggs. And then 1 egg yolk. So I'm gonna get the egg white off over here in the trash can. And then put the egg yolk in there. Get my hands cleaned off. And they don't use vanilla in theirs, but I'm going to use a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm gonna grab a fork and whisk this all up together. You don't want to beat them, but you do want to get them mixed so that the yolks and the whites are combined. Like that. Mixing bowl back over here. Then we're gonna pour this in. And start mixing. Again, if you have a stand mixer, it's gonna go quicker and easier, but this still works, it just takes a little longer. I'm gonna give the mixer another chance at this, see how it goes. I think it's actually working better by hand. You guys had your chance. Here we go again, getting this off the beaters. Getting very close. Okay, I think we're pretty good there. I'm gonna go get my pan, give my hands a rinsey rinse, and I'll be right back. We got our cookie dough all finished. We're going to form them into cookies, and on there, when they made them in Jemma's kitchen, they used a scale to measure them 125 grams. Here's the scale I have. It's probably from the 1970s, back when my mom was weighing food for perhaps Weight Watchers or something. I'm gonna put a little piece of wax paper on there, and we're gonna grab a ball of cookie dough and weigh it to 125. 100. These are not small cookies. It looks like that 125 is the same as 4 ounces, which would be a half a cup of cookie dough. So we'll get started on that. What I'm gonna do is put them on a cookie sheet. I don't have any parchment paper like I say in the recipe. I have a silicone baking mat. So I'm gonna put the cookie on there. I'm just gonna roll it together, not really form it too much into a ball, and I'm just gonna, wow, didn't know it was gonna be that noisy. Plop it on there. And then we're gonna freeze them for at least an hour and a half. And then we'll be able to bake them. But we'll just go about the business of weighing them now. I'll turn this so I can see it. Got them all measured out. There's one little baby one that didn't quite measure up. The rest of them are on this cookie sheet, and I will put them in the freezer. We'll keep them in there for an hour and a half. I'll cover them with a piece of wax paper so they don't get any smells or anything on them. But we'll be back in an hour and a half when they're frozen solid. It's been a few hours. Cookies are frozen. Take them out. That's heavy. There they are. Got my oven preheating. And since this is the cookie sheet I'll bake them on, I'll need to take them off that tray, and as soon as it's preheated I'll stick the pan in the oven for 5 minutes before we put the cookies on there. The good thing about freezing like this is I'm only going to bake the ones that I want to eat. I don't have to bake them all, and the rest can just go in a Ziploc bag in the freezer to bake at another time when we want to have cookies again. Now we're just waiting on the oven. Cookies are off the cookie sheet. Got them over here on the wax paper, and I have my Ziploc bag. I've decided to bake 4 of them, so I'm going to put the rest of them into the bag. We'll see how this goes one-handed. Which made 14 really large cookies. Preheated to 350. We'll put this pan in there for 5 minutes. Get it nice and hot before we bake the cookies. Got a nice hot pan. Gonna put our frozen cookies on there. And back in they go. The recipe says 17 minutes. I'm going to start off with 14 and then look at them. Somebody hears the timer. Who would that be? Hi, Lucy. Okay, let's give them a look. Looking great, but not done yet. They're still gooey in the middle. So, stay in there, keep baking. Timer's gone off for the last time. Let's see what we've got. I'm gonna say they're done. just need to let them cool for 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes. So we're gonna take these off the cookie sheet and let them cool a little while longer on the wire rack. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Also a little soft in the middle, which is the way I like my cookies. Now we're going to let them cool for about 5 more minutes, and then we'll come back for a taste test, the best part. So they've cooled off. I'm going to put them on a plate. Okay, let's pick the cookie and we're going to break it in half. See how it looks on the inside. Look at that melty chocolate. There's a close-up of the cookie. Let's give it a try. It's crunchy on the edges and really soft and gooey on the inside with the melted chocolate. I think you should give it a try. Again, if you're not a fan of dark chocolate like we are, then choose a semi-sweet chocolate chip or a milk chocolate chip. You can do any kind of flavored chip you like. Give this recipe a try and give it a thumbs up if you like it. You can leave a comment below and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.